request Kevin Rudd to allocate 4 minutes.
Thank you very much. Barry Casey, I'd like to congratulate for taking the time and effort, together with his wife, to pull this whole event together. It's no mean feat getting the community engaged in public issues, including those which affect our quality of life. And aircraft noise is a quality of life issue. I'd also like to congratulate the representatives of the minor parties here today, who I think overall have taken a progressive and positive approach to this issue. The Democrats' position and that of the Greens and others is supportive of, I think, a collective community view that we've got to do something practical and concrete to minimise aircraft noise in the future. What I've done on this issue is this. You have in the local paper on the south side, the South East Advertiser, a clearly stated 10-point position from me containing short, medium and long-term measures to be adopted in order to minimise aircraft noise, not just on the south side, but for all aircraft noise-affected suburbs. That is signed by me, that is the platform I'll be working to, and that is the platform I'll be seeking to have implemented. In terms of individual measures, there's been some discussion today of the curfew. Let me state very clearly my position on the curfew. Every resident of Brisbane has the right to a decent night's sleep. Doesn't matter whether they live 5 miles from the airport or 50 miles from the airport. They have a right to a decent night's sleep. My attitude to that is that if it's good enough for Sydney to have a night curfew between the hours of 11 and 6, it is good enough for Brisbane to have one as well. This airport is now the second largest airport in Australia. It is 55% the size of Sydney Airport and growing at about 13% per year. We need to have a curfew in place in the immediate future so that people on the south side ensure that they can have a decent night's sleep. That's the curfew. There are other measures as well. Discussion has also occurred today about a parallel runway. My position is clear. A parallel runway would be an absolute disaster for the quality of life for all residents of the south side and all residents here on the north side as well. It would simply double the traffic volume. It would simply create for us an unmanageable problem in terms of noise minimisation. So, irrespective of what your politics are, I believe there is a broad requirement of the whole community to get behind complete community opposition to any such proposal by any future FAC or by any government. The position which I put to the federal government about 4 months ago was this. It was not on. At that point, the federal minister then publicly distanced himself from the existing strategic master plan for Brisbane Airport and said it is back to the drawing boards. Our challenge as a community is to make sure when the drawing boards are being reworked and the plans are being redeveloped, that a parallel runway is not part of that proposal. Finally, there are other practical things which need to be attended to as well. Some of you would have seen some of the things that I've said publicly about the need for a second airport. It is a part and parcel of the 10-point action plan which I've released publicly and put my name to. I believe that given the growth in air traffic into southeast Queensland and into Brisbane Airport in particular, there is no alternative but for sensible planners now to begin to identify a second airport site. If we fail to do that, then what will happen is that this airport will become clogged and we will have a parallel runway rammed down our throats. That cannot occur. A second airport site is the best sensible long-term planning solution for that problem. On that question, I will be announcing tomorrow that the Federal Minister has agreed that as part of a national review of national airport needs across the nation, the future airport needs of Brisbane will form part of that study in terms of how best to cope with future air traffic growth into this city. There are practical things like 727s. If you've been woken up in the morning or late at night by 727, it is the most unpleasant experience that you can imagine. But together with positive action from a range of people in the community, we've managed to get 727s and ansett their owners to see sense and to phase them out. Without community action, the phase out would have been in 2002. With community action, the phase out is next year. So it's important to keep the pressure on, because without the pressure and without the threat of direct consumer action against the airlines themselves, these sort of things don't happen. My conclusion is this. I listened before to what my Liberal opponent had to say. What I would say, though, to my Liberal opponent is this. There have been 12 months in which I've conducted an active public debate on the future management of aircraft noise. I have signed my moniker to a 10-point action plan, which states specifically where I stand on each of these issues. I have not seen one signed by my Liberal opponent. I have not seen him make a statement other than that the solution lies in having a roundtable conference and spreading the noise more broadly. That needs fleshing out so that anyone affected by that sort of proposal knows what's coming down the tracks in the eventuality of a Liberal government being elected. My conclusion is this. Irrespective of who wins this election in Canberra, my 10-point plan on managing aircraft noise in the future is something that I'll be sticking to and fighting for, irrespective of who is in power in Canberra. Thank you.